Hi, I'm Sunil Jain. I'm the managing editor of the Financial Express. As you know, the RBI just cut the repo rates by 25 basis points. It's pretty much what the market had expected. So to that extent, there's really no surprise. The big fears, on the eve of the policy were really two. One, what is going to happen to inflation with the likelihood or the possibility, not the likelihood, with the possibility of a poor monsoon, and what's going to happen to to GDP. These are the two fears. As far as the likelihood of what happens to inflation is concerned, the governor laid it out pretty well when he said there have been El Nino years in the past when there hasn't been a poor monsoon. There have been poor monsoon years when there hasn't been inflation, dramatic hike in food inflation. So in that sense, if you look at, which is why the RBI's projections for inflation are slightly higher than they were the last time around. So there doesn't seem to be too much fear on that count because we've got a very, very huge stock of food grains. We've got about 60 million tons of food grains we'll have with the FCI on July 1. So if the government wants, they can just dump wheat and rice in the market and try and contain food grain cereal prices to a large extent. Cereal prices are about 10% weight in the CPI. So I think that's one very big positive. As far as oils are concerned, the edible oils are concerned, the global prices are very low. We've got an import duty of about 15% on, I think, some oil. So there's a lot of cushion there to reduce inflation again. The pulses are going to be a problem, and that's really what you will find the prices going up if there's a poor monsoon. So I think that's as far as the inflation is concerned. The governor wasn't too bothered. I mean, he wasn't too concerned, on inflation. As he said, the big worry now is that if we keep rates too high, we can't kill the economy either. And I think that's the concern. We've just seen, we reported in the Financial Express, today, that for a sample of, for a sample of companies, the net profits in Q4 are down 25%. So, despite the GDP numbers looking, which were put out by the government, looking quite robust, the RBI, both the governor as well as Deputy Governor Urjit Patel, seemed somewhat skeptical about those numbers, and they talked about the growth impetus in the economy being weak. So in that context, what does this 25 basis point do? One, it tries to help boost consumer sentiment to a certain extent, so it might give a boost to consumer demand. But let's not forget the fact that as long as consumers don't see jobs on the horizon, consumers are not going to rush to the markets to go around buying more, durables just because there's a 25 basis point cut. So I think, a 25 basis cut point, a 25 basis point cut is important, but it is not going to, suddenly pick up, boost consumer sentiments and boost consumer demand. And as far as the overall pickup to the economy is concerned, as the governor said, as we all know, that private investment is very sluggish. It will remain sluggish for at least another year, if not more, mainly because capacity utilization in the economy is at about 65% levels there. So even if demand picks up, there's a lot of scope for increasing your capacity without going in for fresh investment. I think the big hope that we have for GDP growth picking up this year is really what the government is able to do as far as public investment is concerned. So you've heard over the last several months, the roads minister Nitin Gadkari, the railway minister Suresh Prabhu, and the finance minister talking about new ways in which they can get public investment to pick up. I think if public investment picks up, that is really critical for GDP growth to pick up. But a sort of a wrap on policy today is that the inflation doesn't look as much of a worry as it looked some months ago, despite the possibility of a poor monsoon. The economy continues to remain sluggish, and a 25 basis point cut will help, but don't go buying stocks just because of that 25 basis point cut. Thanks a lot.